This video is for the ladies in my audience. I noticed on YouTube analytics that the number of female representation is growing on my channel. I'm achieving diversity without a diversity officer. And as such, I decided to make a video for you girls. And I definitely want your input on this. I will tell you an interesting real life story. And then I definitely want your feedback. So the story is about a friend of mine who also finished med school. And now she lives in the United Kingdom. And every time I try to catch up with her, she is constantly telling me about how difficult her life is. Which is a little bit upsetting. You know, I don't want to know that my friends are having a difficult life. And I want to help as much as I can. So the latest drama is due to the fact that she is moving her house. And she told me that she finds it very difficult carrying all of the luggage and packing up all the boxes because they're very heavy and difficult to carry, and she doesn't have the money to hire a company to do that because in the UK these companies are very expensive. And she's got back issues because she's got big boobies, you know, so she has difficulty lifting all of these things, and she's afraid that it can affect her health. And my question to her was like, well, why don't you find a significant other? Like, why don't you go out, start dating, find a man, because you're at the age of 36. And it's about time, you know, and when you have two people facing the life issues, it's a lot easier. Now you have two incomes, you can afford the company. Now you have him, he can carry the weight. Like, well, why don't you do that? And she answered something that I heard in the media being uttered time and time again. And she also told me something that women say time and time again. And that is that, well, she doesn't want to lower her standards. Right? Like, she's not going to lower her dating standards in order to just get a man. And if she's going to find the right one, fine. But unless she finds the right one, then she's not interested. So the question then begins, like, okay, but what are your dating standards? Like, what exactly do you want? And she says, well, she wants a guy that's tall. She wants a guy that's handsome. She wants a guy that shares her hobbies and interests. She wants a guy that's educated. She wants a guy that makes money. She wants a guy that owns a car and an apartment. And the list goes on and on. Yeah, and normally you have heard this conversation on the internet. Like, this has already transpired, and at this point, like, the guy asks, oh, but what do you have to offer? And that conversation goes nowhere. But I think I figured out the solution to just mind-blown women when they come up with this answer. It's like, well, I want Mr. Perfect. I want Mr. Right. And what you should do is show them a picture of their father. Like, go on Facebook, pick up a picture of their father, and show it to them. And ask them the question, does your dad fit the criteria? Like, is your dad tall? Is your dad handsome? Is your dad, when he got with your mother, did he have an apartment? Did he have a stable job? Is he educated? Is it chances are no. Like, overwhelmingly, you're not going to find the dad that even meets 5% of the criteria. So my question is then, why can't you be humble like your mother? Like, clearly your mother did right in life. Like, your mother isn't complaining about having to pack up the boxes. Your mom isn't complaining about not having money to get a company to help her move out. Your mom has so much money that the thing that she has on top gives it to you so that you can go to a university, right? Like, clearly, they may have different struggles in life, but at least the problems you have are being covered. And so far, I haven't heard a single response. I mean, this literally just shuts them down because you have the mainstream media that is lying to people. Like, the mainstream media says you should never lower your dating preferences. Like, you are perfect the way you are. Okay? You should just, like, get the perfect man for you because you are beautiful, you are perfect. Like, first of all, how does the mainstream media know anything about you? Like, they don't know you as a person. They don't know your name. Secondly, they are lying to you. No one is perfect. There is no human being that is perfect. Everyone has flaws. If you're not perfect, you're not going to find Mr. Perfect either. And then the media lies to women. It's like, oh, well, you need to have a really good career in order to get successful dates. But the problem is, like, men aren't interested in women's wealth. I mean, sure, it's something that you take into account. But usually, women want to date up. So if you're very successful and you want to date someone that has more money than you, well, chances are the guy with more money than you is dating the 18 plus year old supermodel. Right? Like, he is interested into what men are interested. Like the 18-year-old supermodel that goes on a yacht with the CEO from the multi-billion-dollar company. That's what he wants. He doesn't want the CEO his age that no, he's not interested in that, right? So the mainstream media is lying to people by denying the human reality of the situation. And they are creating unrealistic expectations that women need to have in men. Like, the mainstream media is very concerned about the unrealistic expectations of beauty standards for women. Like, oh my god, we can't have comic books with beautiful buxom ladies. We can't have video games that have too much titillation. We can't have beauty and fashion magazines that show women at their peak of the beauty, because no, that creates unrealistic standards of expectations in men, right? But when it comes to creating unrealistic standards of expectations in women, for some reason that is allowed. And it's encouraged. And I think it brings unhappiness. I don't think that there is a person which is perfect. Neither man nor woman, by the way. And I do believe that society is designed for people to live in pairs. Like, if you don't have a significant other, you're going to notice that your friends do. You're going to notice that your friends spend less time with you because they're occupied with their families. You're going to notice that whenever you have some hardship, like, for example, carrying boxes, it's a lot more difficult to do the job with one person than to do it with two people. Like, even when I carry something heavy, I rely on my wife to open the doors for me because my hands are filled, right? It doesn't mean that I can't do it. It doesn't mean that I can't put the heavy stuff down and open the door and then pick the heavy stuff up. But it's a lot easier. It's a lot more helpful when you have someone else to do these things for you, right? So imagine if you wanted to apply for a job and you just want to work at Google for some reason. Like, you want to work at Google, but Google tells you you don't have experience. They're not interested in you. So what do? Well, you get a lesser job, right? You get a job at a more smaller company. You get a job at somewhere else because you still need to put food on the table at the end of the day, right? But the mindset that the media encourages, it's like, no, you are perfect for the job you want. You need to get the job at Google or not get the job at all. And then people end up unemployed, people end up miserable, they end up sad, and they don't know why. And the reason is because you are listening to all of these bad advices. Again, I'm not saying that women should date anyone. It's just like anyone off the street. But what I am saying is, like, look at your father. See how your father was when he got with his mother, and maybe be a little bit more humble like your mom used to be. Look at your grandfather and how he was when he got with his grandmother. And maybe you should be a little bit more humble like your grandmother used to be. Maybe you should start looking at reality and real people rather than the fictional people that the media promotes. Let me know what you guys think, though, especially you gals. And I'll definitely see you on the comment section on this one.